when I went on that board,
Yeah.
now all night I've been very open-minded. In fact,
Yeah.
all night I've gone, this is a bit boring because there's nothing really happening.
Yeah.
Well, hold on, what's that? Oh, there's a noise. Yeah, okay, there's noises and everything else. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I was scared. No, I wouldn't say I was frightened, but I would say I was scared shitless. And the reason why I was scared shitless is because I knew what that man had done as soon as I hit, as soon as that was there, and everything was on the top. I'm going goosey now. I never want to experience a feeling like it ever again, because the man was pure evil. Now you guys were saying there was a woman or a girl that was on there, and I got the feeling there was a girl, and I named her Katie, okay, because it's just what I thought, okay. But as soon as I got on there, the first thing that happened was my chest felt like somebody had wrapped a belt around it and was tightening it. The second thing that felt, I actually felt somebody grab my hand and was pushing, making me push that, and I was fighting against it to pull away.
Yeah.
Within all that, that's when I said, right, I've got to stop, I can't do this. And within that amount of time, I knew his name was Thompson, I knew he was a paedophile, and I knew he'd murdered children. Okay? And I knew that, and I told John about this. How did I know all of that when I know nothing about this? I've done no research on this. It's actually really upset me. And I want to know how I knew that that wasn't a little girl, and it wasn't a little girl that was on there, and Fred was not Fred. I'm telling you now. Fred, I don't believe for 1 minute Fred was Fred.
It may not have been, it could have been...
Am I just making this up? Is
No,
it something that's
no,
happened to
no,
me? Am I just getting stupid here, or what?
No.
Because I've not been scared, I've not been frightened. I mean, you know, I'm a level-headed guy, for goodness sake.
Yeah.
I'm the most level-headed and piss-taking guy you'll ever meet. So why am I now feeling like this?
Well, first of all, I mean, if you're looking at it from a, how can I say it? From a non-sort of spiritual sort of thing, you've got to look at the whole. You don't just look at that event. You look at the whole evening.
Yeah.
Okay. So, first of all, there's anticipation that there might be something.
Right.
Second of all, then you get bored.
Yeah.
Thirdly of all, we bring out something new.
Yeah.
Like a Ouija board. If you look at the history of Ouija boards, the history of Ouija boards that have a brand press, you're going to get something evil.
Right.
Okay? So straight away, right, psychologically tells me, I did hear you earlier on saying that you were abused as a child.
Right.
Right? Straight away, you're evil on a board. What is the most evil thing that's happened to you? I.e., what you experienced. So straight away, you're putting that influence onto that board. I know it sounds weird, and I know that I'm not saying that you're feeling what you're feeling is wrong. It's not, because what you feel is what you feel, and it's your feeling. But it could also be coming and bringing it out in you. So the evil in the Ouija board could be interpreting the evil. I know that you're saying you know the name of Thompson.
Well, I knew.
I
came
agree.
down, and you asked John. When I came down, he came down after
Yeah.
made sure I was okay.
Yeah.
And he said, you know, what was the feeling you got? Are you okay? What happened?
Yeah.
And I told him everything.
Yeah.
I told him that I thought that Katie, who I've affectionately known Katie, was abused by this Thompson.
Yeah.
And she's been here a long time.
Yeah.
And she's still here.
Yeah, I mean, and you may be right, and you know, you may be right, but from a sort of psychological and from another point of view, I would say from that side of it, it could be just a manifestation of your own, not your own life, but a manifestation of what has happened to you.
Perhaps my own experiences.
Yes.
Perhaps.
Yes, that are being brought forward.
Right.
In a dark environment, you know, you have to look at the whole thing, and that's why you're feeling the way you're feeling now, which is vulnerable and a bit scared and all the rest of it, because there's a side to you that's come out that has been buried for X amount of years. Do you know what I mean? But it's actually come forward again. Do you know what I mean? And then feelings have been brought forward again.
How come he, we came back up, and when we came back up into the room, he was back there again, and it was so surreal.
Well, you said this is,
we weren't even in the room when you guys were on there.
Well,
and
this is
what I can't work out is the fact that, and I hope you don't mind me going over this, but this is what I can't factor in the fact that, that's the wrong word, I can't actually work out the fact that I came down. We finished off the Ouija, I came back up, as you know, we finished off the Ouija, there was a message from me which was, I still don't understand to this day, but something may turn up, who knows. But the most weird and wonderful thing was, I came down, I had a cup of coffee with a pig, had a cup of coffee, and yeah, I had a cigarette. Both John and I both had a cigarette. Told him about what had gone on, told him all these bits and pieces. We came back upstairs, and we walk into the room, and there's you guys talking to this Thompson again.
Right.
And everything that I told him
is being repeated
down here, and you were 3 floors above us. There's no way you could have heard what we were talking about.
Right, now. Right.
Everything on that board was repeated, and that was surreal. That was something.
Now, the answer to that is, the answer to that is, again, sort of being completely. I'm going to have to go on the other side of things here because I can't explain that in a technical term. I can explain it as me being a medium.
Okay.
All right. I can completely explain it because if you're in a room, if I'm getting messages or if I'm being guided by people on the other side, okay? People on the other side have a big overview of everybody and they know what's going on at any moment in time.
Right.
So if you've been downstairs talking about it to somebody, then I've got the information from someone because they've heard it and they've basically just relayed it to me. But they've relayed it through me onto a board. And that's why that is. That's why. And there's no way I could have heard it, but you're in the building, you're here, you're with me, you're in the group. My auric field is everywhere around this building now. There's bits of me all over this building, okay? So wherever you're going, it's easy for me to tune into that, you know what I mean? So it's just a case of them feeding the information back to me. It's just that instead of me walking around and saying, I feel as though I've got the name Thompson and he murdered somebody and there's something to do with children, what's happened is it's come through and it's fed through me. With the help of James's energy, it's come through and it's spelt it out. Right. And that's what's happened there.
Right.
You know, I can't explain it in technical terms because I don't know how it's worked. But that's how it's worked as a medium. That's how your energy transfers from one person to another, and the end, because what sometimes you can do, you can be with certain people that are what they call batteries, for want of a better word, right? And some people provide mediums with energy to do things that they wouldn't normally do. So whereas I would rely, sort of, I don't know, maybe on my own battery or people on the other side and help from them, what I've probably done is I've probably used James's energy to build my energy up, to expand and then to basically communicate or get the message and it's fed through onto this particular board, and that's what's happened there, you know. And that's why I'm only just relaying what the hard evidence really is your pointer, because if we can actually find, like John said, hard evidence of this Thompson, if he was here, which we believe he is, we've got reports of his at the moment, right? So, and then you're going into a different ballgame because then we can rule out the fact that, well, I'm saying in one way, yes, it may be you and what happened to you and it's a manifestation of your childhood. Right. But then if we're actually getting this Thompson that was alive, that did do this, that did die when he died, whatever, I can't remember the dates
1983.
There, right, that did die there, or there's significant dates there, that, and we can find out if there was a murder of a particular child, even if it's not Katie necessarily, right, then you're looking at a completely different ball game altogether. And what I would say to you then is that, again, when you're dealing with the paranormal is basic, the word, what it says, it's not normal. Do you know what I mean? So, do you know what I mean? You have to be prepared to experience perhaps things that you wouldn't normally experience. And even though you're not particularly psychic, or you class yourself as not being particularly psychic, right? Or whatever, when you are working with the paranormal or you're working alongside other mediums or other psychics, you will become aware of other things.
Right.
And
Okay.
it don't matter how much you want to say now, you will. Do you know? And, you know, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it just makes you aware that there may be something else going on. You know, you having that experience on that Ouija board may have taught you a lesson that you don't want to do ever again.
Oh no, no.
Do you know what I mean?
No, it hasn't.
Or it may have.
To me, that
You know.
I must admit, it was frightening. It was something that frightening. Yeah, okay, no, I was frightened. Yeah,
Don't be frightened.
I was frightened of it.
You should never be frightened.
I was not frightened of the board. I was not frightened of anybody around here. I was frightened of the feeling. What I was getting from something or someone in that room.
What I saw through your face, James, it looked like you were seeing red.
Yeah.
You look petrified.
I was. Because I could feel what he was doing.
And you see,
it was disgusting.
The reason why you felt that is because of maybe what's happened to you in childhood, because of that feeling, so you've experienced it. And remember what I said to you earlier on, or I don't know if you heard it, but ghosts will communicate with the easiest way possible that they can communicate with you, right? So if you've got a feeling and you know what that feels like, if it's somebody that's done that already, it makes it twice as easy for them to communicate that than somebody that hasn't done that, because they have to work a damn sight harder to communicate with somebody that hasn't had that feeling, because they have to make that person feel that. And if they haven't had that feeling, it's harder. Whereas if they've had that feeling, then the person automatically knows what that feeling's like and automatically thinks, shit, I know exactly what's happened here.
I must have don't actually personally remember.
No, you know, but that could be, you know, that could be with anything. If you've got somebody that's got a stab wound, right, and knows what it likes to be stabbed, and you've got a spirit here that was somebody that would murder, or perhaps he was stabbed himself, right? He will, wherever you were stabbed, you will feel that, as if somebody's stabbing you again. Whereas to me, I haven't. It might be that I get the stomachache, and I say, well, I've got a gentleman here, and he's making me feel sick. But it's not really. He's trying to make me feel as though somebody's stabbing me in the stomach. But because I don't know what that feels like, I've got to interpret that. But if it was somebody with me that was stabbed, it may be the person that is stabbed says, I feel that I'm being stabbed again.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and that's why. And the reason why you feel a bit, oh my God, is because it's your interpretation of that feeling. That's what the fear is. It's, like you said, it's not the people around you, but it's the fear of what he did, and it's because you know how that feels. Or somewhere in your subconscious you know how it feels. Do you know what I mean? And that's what makes it surreal for you. You know, because you might thinking, oh my God, I know everything about this person. Because that spirit can identify with what's happened to you. So he thinks, well, I'd rather go to you because it's going to be easier and you're going to be able to communicate it straight away. Whereas if I try with somebody else, I've got to work harder. And spirits are lazy, they don't like to work. Do you know what I mean?
Brilliant.
They don't like to work.
Thank you very much.
But don't be frightened about it. And don't worry about it.
No,
because
it
will
go.
go.
Don't worry.
You know what I mean? It will go. And you know, there's nothing to be scared about. You know, he's not going to follow you home or anything like that. Or, you know, nobody's in any danger or anything like that. You know, but if you know, as a warning to everybody, you know, you're going into this, you are going to come across things like this. You know, and it could happen to any of us. You know, if I'm on an investigation with you, I mean, don't get me wrong, I mean, I'm not saying that for 1 minute that I'm going to start doing Derek Acora and I'm going to go into fits and people are going to start doing 5 minutes. But it is possible. It is possible. And it could happen to any one of us. Not just me, it could happen to anybody. It could happen to you, 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 it could happen to any one of us. Because you're all putting yourselves in an environment where that could possibly happen. And when it does happen, it frightens the living down, I say to you.